You know, Ted Cruz, I'm paging through a book called The Great Heroes of Modern Republicanism. It took me 14 seconds. There is no such book. Who are these great moderates? Who are they? What have they done for our country? Where have they led us? Have they stood against the left? Have they done anything? The answer is no. Our great heroes are principled constitutionalists who stand for something, whether it's against slavery, whether it's for securing the border, whether it's for sound money, whatever it is. Moderates, no labels, really means no policies. So my question to you is this: when it comes to Nikki Haley, she seems to be moving more and more left during the course of the campaign, relying on exactly the wrong people to try and win a Republican primary. I think she'd have a better shot in the Democrat primary. What are her 3 or 4 great, big, principled issues? And which states does she plan to win flat out in the next 6 to 8 weeks, do you think?
Well, look, I have no idea what her issues are, but it's really one. She's not Donald J. Trump. That's what she's running on. And Nikki Haley has no path, zero path to winning the nomination. I've endorsed Donald Trump because the race is over. He will be the Republican nominee. And I think it is a very, very easy choice between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, which direction the country should go. Nikki Haley right now is the vessel for the big money billionaires who hate Donald Trump, and they're flooding cash into her race. But she got clobbered in Iowa. Trump won dominatingly in Iowa. Trump won dominatingly in New Hampshire. New Hampshire was Nikki Haley's best state. It was the best chance she had to potentially win. Why? Because the way New Hampshire works, about a third of the voters of New Hampshire are independents. And you had, for example, the Boston Globe urging independents to vote in the Republican primary to try to beat Trump. So if there was going to be a state that Nikki had a shot in, it was New Hampshire. Well, she lost by double digits. She's headed now to her home state of South Carolina. She's going to lose South Carolina by double digits. It could be as big a margin as Iowa. It could be 30 points or more. And there is no path here. And so I've endorsed President Trump because I think the Republican Party needs to unite, and we need to focus on winning in November because our country is in crisis at a level we have never seen. Joe Biden is not going to be willing to secure this border. Donald Trump is going to come in, and I intend to work hand in hand with Donald Trump to secure this border and turn this country around. Like we did in 2016, we're going to do it again.
A couple of points. I noticed almost every person that Nikki Haley ran against on that debate stage, other than Christie, I don't know what he's done, but Asa Hutchinson, really not even a blip of a blip on the radar. He's endorsed her. All the others endorsed Trump.
Yep.
I noticed something that the media will not report on. She gets into personal fights with Vivek. She gets into personal fights with Tim Scott. She gets into personal fights with Ron DeSantis. She gets into personal fights with Donald Trump. I mean, the way I see this is she's not as the media and she herself are trying to portray herself.
Well, listen, I think the Nikki Haley campaign is they really have their eye on 2028, and they've decided that she's going to run as an unabashed establishment moderate. Now, in any Republican primary, establishment moderates are about 30% of the primary base. I don't get the math of how 30% beats 70%, and yet somehow their donors whose calculators don't work and they keep writing checks to her. I don't think it makes any sense, and I think the Republican nominee in 2024, and I hope every time thereafter, should be a principled conservative who stands with the working men and women of this country, who stands with the Constitution, who fights to defend our liberties. And I think the path of the Republicans who yearn for the days of yesteryear, the days of big government Republicans, I just think that's not where the party is and not where the country is.
And now the spin, I discussed this last night on this program, Saturday, is that Trump can't win moderates. And I went back and I looked. When Reagan was running, they said Reagan can't win moderates. Yep. He can't win independents. They've talked about it with you. You're just too narrow. It's the conservative path. What is the problem with conservatism? We believe in liberty, the Constitution, the rule of law, free enterprise, national security. Is there something so right-wing and awful about that?
Not remotely. And I will say a lot of people in the press, they like to say, well, both sides are too extremes. And that feels even-handed. When you say both sides have gotten extreme, aren't you balanced by saying that? It just happens not to be true. The left, the Democrats have lost their ever-loving minds. They have Trump broke the Democrat Party, and their agenda is set by the radical extremes. Now, that actually, in many ways, is a gift to Republicans, because we can just be the party of common sense. When Democrats embrace open borders and an invasion of our country, we can have the very common sense position, no, we should secure our damn borders. When Democrats embrace defunding and abolishing the police, we can have the common sense position, no, we should stand for the men and women of law enforcement and lock up violent criminals and put them in jail. When Democrats print money by the trillions and trillions and trillions and produce massive inflation that is hurting every American, we can have the common sense position, no, let's live within our means. Let's cut taxes on job creators. We saw incredible prosperity as a result of the 2017 tax cuts. All of these are common sense positions, and I haven't even begun to touch national security. You look at Joe Biden, inherited peace and prosperity across the world. Now, we have the biggest war in Europe since World War II and the worst war in the Middle East in 50 years. We need peace through strength. We need a commander-in-chief that defends America.